Hello everyone. Welcome back to English Mastery Hub. My name is Logan, and I'm glad you're here today. I hope you're feeling ready to learn something useful to help you speak English better. Today's topic is very important: how to speak English with confidence in your daily life. Many English learners feel shy when they speak. Some are afraid of making mistakes. This is very common, and it's okay to feel this way. I also had these same feelings when I was learning. But over time, I learned how to become more confident, step by step. At first, I used short, simple sentences. I practiced speaking alone. I repeated words and phrases every day. Slowly, my confidence grew. You can do the same. In this video, I will share my personal experience and give you simple, easy tips that you can start using today. These tips will help you feel more comfortable when speaking English, even if you're just starting out. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to try and keep practicing. So, let's begin. And don't forget to subscribe to English Mastery Hub for more helpful and easy English lessons. Many English learners have this problem. You want to say something, but your mind stops. You try to find the right words, but nothing comes out. It can feel frustrating. You might think, why does this always happen to me? Don't worry. This is very common. Many people experience this, even those who have been learning English for a long time. But why does this happen? Let's talk about some reasons. One reason is fear of making mistakes. You might worry about using the wrong word or saying something incorrectly. Maybe you think people will laugh or judge you, so instead of speaking, you stay quiet. But here's the truth. Making mistakes is part of learning. If you never make mistakes, you never improve. Another reason is translating from your native language. Your brain thinks in your first language, and then you try to change the words into English. This takes time, and it slows you down. By the time you find the right words, the conversation has already moved on. Sometimes, the problem is not enough speaking practice. Maybe you read English, listen to English, and even write in English, but you don't speak often. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weak. The more you practice, the stronger and faster your speaking will become. Another big reason is lack of confidence. You might think, my English is not good enough, or people won't understand me. This makes you overthink every word. Instead of speaking naturally, you hesitate, and then you stop completely. Does any of this sound familiar to you? If yes, don't worry. You are not alone. Many learners feel this way. The good news is that there are simple ways to fix this problem. You don't have to feel stuck forever. In this lesson, I will show you easy and effective techniques to help you speak without stopping and gain confidence in your English conversations. One simple trick I learned is using filler phrases. These are short expressions that give you extra time to think. They help you continue speaking even when you forget a word or need a moment to organize your thoughts. Imagine this: you are talking to someone in English. You want to say something, but suddenly, your mind goes blank. What do? Do you stop talking? No. Instead, you use a filler phrase. For example, instead of staying silent, you can say, "Let me think." That's a good question. Well, how can I say this? Give me a second. It's like, these phrases keep the conversation moving. They also show that you are still engaged in the conversation. People will wait for you to continue instead of thinking that you don't know what to say. Let's look at an example. Imagine you are in a cafe and someone asks you, "What kind of movies do you like?" You start to answer, but you can't remember the English word for your favorite movie genre. Instead of panicking, you say, let me think. Well, I really enjoy movies that are full of action, like superhero movies. Now, you didn't stop the conversation. You used a filler phrase, gave yourself a second to think, and found another way to explain your idea. This is a great way to sound more fluent and confident. Filler phrases are also useful when someone asks you a difficult question. Maybe you need time to think about your answer. Instead of staying silent, you can say, "Oh, that's an interesting question. I never thought about that before. Well, let me see." These phrases make you sound natural and relaxed, just like a native speaker. Even fluent speakers use filler phrases all the time. Let's try a little exercise. Think about a simple question, like, "What do you like to do on the weekend?" Now, before you answer, practice using a filler phrase. Say, "Oh, that's a good question. Let me think. Well, on the weekend, I like to go for a walk and read a book." Try practicing different filler phrases every day. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel. Soon, you won't be afraid of forgetting a word because you'll know how to keep the conversation going. So, don't be afraid to pause and think. Use filler phrases, stay calm, and keep speaking. This small trick can make a big difference in your English fluency. One of the best ways to improve speaking skills is through storytelling. At first, I only practiced speaking in short sentences. I would say things like, "Yesterday I went to the store." But my conversations didn't flow well. I always felt like I was starting and stopping. It was frustrating. Then I discovered something amazing. Telling full stories helped me improve my speaking. Instead of just saying one short sentence, I started telling a complete story. For example, "Yesterday I went to the store to buy some fruit. But when I got there, I saw a long line. I didn't want to wait, but I really needed apples. So I waited, and then something funny happened. The person in front of me dropped all their oranges on the floor. They rolled everywhere. Everyone started helping to pick them up. It was a small moment, but it made everyone smile. Finally, I bought my apples and went home." This is a real story with details, actions, and emotions. It's not just one sentence, it's a full experience. So, why does storytelling help with speaking? Because it trains your brain to keep going instead of stopping. When telling a story, you naturally want to finish it. The brain starts focusing on the message instead of worrying about grammar or missing words. Think about it. When listening to a good story, do you want it to stop suddenly? No. You want to know what happens next. The same thing happens when telling a story. The brain wants to complete the idea, so it pushes you to keep speaking. One simple way to practice storytelling is to think of a small moment from daily life. It doesn't have to be exciting. It could be something simple, like drinking coffee in the morning, going for a walk, or meeting a friend. For example, last weekend, I went to the park. I saw a little dog running very fast. Suddenly, it stopped and looked at me. Then, it jumped into a pile of leaves. It was so cute. Even a small story helps in practicing speaking naturally. Try telling a story out loud. It can be done alone in a room, in front of a mirror, or while recording on a phone. The goal is to practice speaking continuously without stopping too much. Sometimes words are forgotten, and that's okay. The important thing is not to stop, Instead, try to describe the word. For example, if the word squirrel is forgotten, say, I saw a small animal. It was brown, with a big tail, and it climbed trees very fast. This keeps the conversation moving. Native speakers do this too. If they forget a word, they find another way to explain it. Adding expressions and emotions also makes storytelling more interesting. Try using words like suddenly, and then, guess what happened next? It was so funny. These expressions make speaking more natural and fun. For example, instead of just saying, I missed the bus, say, this morning I woke up late. I ran to the bus stop, but when I got there, I saw the bus leaving. I waved my hands, but the driver didn't see me, so I had to wait for the next bus. It was cold, and I was so tired. But then, a friend arrived and we talked while waiting. It wasn't so bad after all. Now, it's a real story that feels natural and easy to tell. A great way to practice storytelling is, think of a past event. It can be from yesterday, last week, or years ago. Say it out loud in English. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak. Use details. Describe what happened, what was seen, and how it felt. Use expressions. Make the story interesting. For a challenge, try telling the same story in different ways. First, tell it simply. Then, add more details. Then, try telling it like a funny story. For example, a simple version: I lost my phone yesterday. I looked for it everywhere. Finally, I found it in my bag. A detailed version: yesterday, I lost my phone. I checked my pockets. Nothing. I checked the table. Nothing. I looked under my bed. Nothing. I was so worried. Then I opened my bag, and there it was. I had it the whole time. The more storytelling is practiced, the better speaking becomes. Storytelling is one of the best ways to improve speaking. It helps in speaking continuously without stopping, using real, natural sentences, feeling more confident in conversations. So don't just practice short sentences, tell stories. Start today. Think of something small that happened, and tell the story in English. It will help in speaking more fluently, naturally, and confidently. One of the biggest challenges when learning English is translating from your native language before speaking. This makes conversations slow and difficult. Instead of speaking naturally, your brain tries to find the correct words in English. This takes too much time and can make you stop in the middle of a sentence. For example, imagine you speak Spanish. You want to say, I had a great adventure. But first, you think of the word aventura in Spanish. Then, you try to find the English translation. By the time you remember adventure, the conversation has already moved on. This used to happen to me all the time. I would stop, think, and try to find the right English words. It made me slow, and sometimes I even forgot what I wanted to say. I knew I needed to stop translating in my head and start thinking directly in English. But how could I do it? The first thing I did was change my daily habits. Every morning, instead of thinking in my native language, I forced myself to think in English. When I woke up, I asked myself, what do I need to do today? Then I answered in English. First, I will take a shower. Then, I will eat breakfast. After that, I will go to work. When I walked outside, I described what I saw. The sky is blue. The sun is shining. A man is walking his dog. At first, it was difficult. My brain wanted to translate everything, but I didn't let it. I kept going. After a few weeks, thinking in English became easier. Another thing that helped me was using simple words. Before, I always tried to translate difficult words, and it slowed me down. So I changed my method. Instead of thinking, what is the English word for aventura? I just said, it was a fun trip. Instead of thinking, how do I say delicioso in English? I said, this food is very good. I learned that simple words are better than no words. If I didn't know an advanced word, I used an easy one. The most important thing was to keep speaking. Sometimes I couldn't remember a word. Before, I would stop and try to translate. But instead of stopping, I started describing the word in English. For example, if I forgot the word suitcase, I said, it's a big bag for clothes when you travel. If I forgot refrigerator, I said, it's a cold box for food. This helped me continue speaking without stopping. People still understood me, and I felt more confident. I also changed the way I practiced speaking. Before, I tried to make long, complicated sentences, but I realized that short, simple sentences were much better. Instead of saying, yesterday, I had a wonderful experience at a restaurant where I tried a delicious new dish. I said, yesterday, I went to a restaurant. The food was very good. This made speaking easier and helped me build confidence. As I improved, I started making longer sentences naturally. Another trick that helped me was talking to myself in English. When I was alone, I spoke out loud. For example, if I was cooking, I said, now I am cutting vegetables. I am making a salad. It looks very good. If I was cleaning, I said, I am washing the dishes. Now I am drying them. The kitchen is clean. By doing this, I got used to forming English sentences quickly, without translating. Another thing that helped was thinking in questions and answers. I imagined a conversation and practiced both sides. For example, I asked myself, what did you do today? Then I answered, I went to the park. I walked for 1 hour. The weather was nice. This helped me feel more natural in real conversations. I also practiced with pictures instead of words. I looked at objects and immediately thought of their English names. For example, when I saw an apple, I didn't think manzana first. I just thought apple in English. This small change made a huge difference. My brain started connecting ideas directly to English words instead of translating. Listening to English helped me a lot, too. I watched movies and listened to podcasts in English. But instead of translating in my head, I tried to understand the meaning from the context. At first, it was difficult, but little by little, I got better. I realized that I didn't need to understand every single word. I just needed to understand the main idea. I also started reading in English. I chose easy books and read them without translating every word. When I didn't know a word, I tried to guess the meaning. This helped me think in English without stress. The more I listened and read, the easier it became to speak naturally. After practicing these techniques for a few months, I noticed a big change. I stopped translating in my head, and my speaking became faster and more natural. Now, when I have a conversation, I don't need to stop and think. Words come to me easily, and I feel much more confident. If you want to stop translating and think in English, here's what you should do. Think in English every day. Describe your actions, surroundings, and thoughts in English. Use simple words. Don't worry about difficult vocabulary. Just keep speaking. Describe things instead of stopping. If you don't know a word, explain it in English. Practice short, easy sentences. Start simple and build your confidence. Talk to yourself in English. Say your thoughts out loud to get used to speaking. Ask and answer questions. Imagine conversations and practice both sides. Use pictures instead of translations. Look at objects and think of their English names. Listen and read in English. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, and read books without translating. If you practice these steps every day, you will start thinking in English naturally. It takes time, but it works. At first, your brain will want to translate, but don't give up. Keep practicing, and soon, you'll be able to speak English without thinking in your native language. The key is to make English a part of your daily life. The more you think in English, the faster you will improve. So, start today. Look around you and describe what you see in English. Try talking to yourself or reading a simple book. Every small step brings you closer to fluency. You can do this. Keep going, and soon you'll speak English confidently and naturally. Many English learners think they need a speaking partner to practice, but that's not true. You can practice speaking alone and still improve your fluency. When I was learning English, I didn't always have someone to talk to, so I had to find ways to practice by myself. At first, it felt strange, but I soon realized that speaking alone helped me become more confident. There are 3 powerful ways to practice speaking alone: shadowing, self-talk, and voice recording. Let me explain how each one works. The first method is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately. For example, you can watch a video or listen to an English podcast. As soon as you hear a sentence, you repeat it right away. You don't pause the audio. You try to keep up with the speaker. At first, it's difficult because you have to listen and speak at the same time. But after practicing for a few days, it becomes easier. Shadowing helps you improve your pronunciation, speak faster and more naturally. Get used to English sentence patterns. You don't need to understand every word. Just try to copy the speaker's rhythm and intonation. This will help you sound more like a native English speaker. Here's how to practice shadowing. Find a short video or audio clip in English. Listen to a sentence and repeat it immediately. Try to copy the pronunciation and speed. Do this every day for a few minutes. If a sentence is too fast, don't worry. Just keep going. With practice, your brain will get better at following along. The second method is self-talk. This means talking to yourself in English about anything. It might feel strange at first, but it's a great way to practice thinking in English. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you can say, "Good morning. Today is a new day. I am going to eat breakfast and go to work." When you are cooking, you can describe what you're doing. "Now I am cutting vegetables. I will make a salad. This tomato is very red." When you are walking outside, you can say, "The weather is nice today. The sun is shining. People are walking their dogs." This method helps you think in English without translating, build confidence in speaking, improve your ability to form sentences quickly. The best part is that you can practice anytime, anywhere. You don't need a partner. Just talk to yourself. If you feel shy, you can do this in a quiet place where no one can hear you. The important thing is to speak out loud. The third method is voice recording. This means recording yourself speaking English and then listening to your recording. Many learners don't like to hear their own voice, but this is a great way to find and fix mistakes. Here's how to do it. Take your phone and open a voice recorder app. Talk about your day or describe something in English. Listen to your recording. Notice any mistakes or pronunciation problems. Try again and improve. For example, you can say, "Today I woke up early. I made a cup of coffee. Then I watched a video in English. It was interesting." After listening, you might notice that some words were difficult to pronounce. You can practice those words and record again. This method helps you hear your mistakes and fix them. Improve your pronunciation. Track your progress over time. The more you record yourself, the more comfortable you will feel speaking English. If you want to improve faster, try combining these 3 methods. Shadowing. Listen and repeat native speakers. Self-talk. Talk to yourself in English. Voice recording. Record yourself and listen to your speaking. By practicing these methods every day, you will improve your fluency. At first, it might feel strange to speak alone, but remember, speaking English is like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you become. So, let's practice right now. Take a deep breath and say, "Today I woke up, made some coffee, and watched a video in English." See, you just practiced speaking. Now try using these methods every day. You don't need a speaking partner to improve. You can practice anytime, anywhere, by yourself. Speaking alone is a powerful way to become a fluent English speaker. Keep going, and you will see great results. I used to feel very nervous when speaking English. My hands would shake, my mind would go blank, and I would forget simple words. Even when I knew the right words, I was too afraid to say them. I worried that people would laugh at me or think my English was bad. Does this happen to you too? If yes, don't worry. Many English learners feel this way. It's completely normal. But the good news is that you can overcome this fear. I did, and you can too. At first, I thought I needed to be perfect. I thought I had to speak without mistakes. But then I realized something important. Even native speakers make mistakes. When they talk, they sometimes forget words, use the wrong grammar, or correct themselves, and that's okay. When I understood this, I stopped being so hard on myself. I told myself, it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes help me learn. The most important thing is to keep speaking. This small change in my thinking made a big difference. I started speaking more, and my confidence grew. Another thing that helped me was practicing every day. At first, I was afraid to speak in front of people, so I started practicing alone. I talked to myself in English. I described my day, my thoughts, and my plans. For example, in the morning, I would say, "Today, I will go to work. I have a meeting in the afternoon. After work, I will go for a walk in the park." When I practiced like this, I felt more comfortable with English. It became more natural for me. After some time, I started talking to real people. At first, I spoke with friends who were also learning English. We helped each other. Then, I started talking to native speakers. I was nervous at first, but I reminded myself, they are not here to judge me. They just want to communicate. And you know what? Most people were very kind and patient. They didn't care if I made mistakes. They just wanted to have a conversation. Another thing that helped me was focusing on communication, not perfection. When I spoke English, I didn't try to make every sentence perfect. I just tried to express my ideas. Even if I used simple words, I could still communicate. For example, instead of thinking, "How do I say delicious in English?" I just said, "The food is very good." Instead of thinking, "How do I say interesting?" I just said, "It is very nice." By using simple words, I could keep the conversation going. I didn't need perfect grammar or fancy vocabulary. I just needed to speak. If you feel nervous when speaking English, try these 3 things. Accept mistakes. Mistakes are normal. Even native speakers make them. Practice every day. Talk to yourself. Practice shadowing and speak whenever you can. Focus on communication. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Just say what you want to say. The more you speak, the better you get. And the better you get, the more confident you will feel. So don't be afraid. Speak as much as you can. You are learning, and that's amazing. Keep going, and soon, speaking English will feel natural to you. Forgetting words during a conversation is something many English learners experience. I've had this happen to me too, and it's really frustrating. You're speaking, and suddenly your mind goes blank. You know what you want to say, but the word just isn't coming to you. But don't worry, I found a way to solve this problem. The key is learning words in context, not just memorizing them. When I was starting to learn English, I used to memorize long lists of words. I would write down words like delicious, excited, happy, and so on, and try to remember them. But I quickly realized that this didn't work very well. I would forget the words when I needed them, and it felt like I was just memorizing without really understanding. Then, I decided to try a new method. Instead of memorizing words on their own, I learned them in sentences. This method helped me remember the words much faster and more easily. For example, instead of just learning the word delicious, I learned it in a sentence. This pizza is delicious. By learning the word with a real context, I could picture the sentence in my mind. I could imagine myself eating pizza and saying that it tastes great. The word delicious became connected to something real and easy to remember. Here's another example. Instead of just memorizing the word excited, I practiced using it in a sentence. I'm so excited for my trip. Now, when I think of the word excited, I remember the feeling of looking forward to a trip, and I can use the word in the right situation. This method made remembering the word much easier. So, what's the lesson here? Learn words in context. This means you should use the words in real sentences and connect them to your life. When you learn a new word, don't just memorize it by itself. Instead, make a sentence with it right away. For example, if you learn the word beautiful, you can say, the flowers in the garden are beautiful. Or if you learn the word tired, try saying, I feel tired after a long day at work. By using words in sentences, you create a connection in your brain. This connection helps you remember the words much faster. Another great way to learn words in context is by reading and listening in English. When you read books, listen to podcasts, or watch videos in English, you can see and hear words used in real situations. This helps you remember the words because you see how they are used in conversations and stories. For example, when you hear a word in a story like adventure, it's easier to remember if you know what kind of adventures the character is having. You can think, I want to go on an adventure too. And now, you remember the word better because it's connected to something exciting. Also, try to repeat words. When you learn a new word, say it out loud. This helps you remember it. If you're reading or listening to a conversation, repeat the words you hear. This practice helps your brain get used to using those words. If you forget a word in a conversation, don't panic. Instead of stopping, try using a filler phrase like, let me think, or what's the word for? This gives you time to remember the word, and it keeps the conversation going. Also, make sure you're practicing every day. The more you practice, the faster your brain will remember words. Don't just learn new words and forget about them. Keep using them in sentences and practice speaking. You can also try writing in English. Write a journal, write about your day, or write about your plans for the future. This will help you remember words and practice using them in different ways. So let's summarize. Learn words in sentences. Instead of just memorizing a word, use it in a real sentence. Read and listen in English to see how words are used in different contexts. Repeat the words you learn. Say them out loud to help your brain remember. Use filler phrases when you forget a word so you don't stop speaking. Practice every day. Keep using the words you learn to make them stick in your memory. By following these steps, you'll find it much easier to remember words in English. Don't forget that learning a new word is not just about memorizing it. It's about using it in sentences, practicing it every day, and connecting it to real-life situations. The more you do this, the faster you'll remember words, and the more confident you'll feel when speaking. Keep practicing, and soon you'll see how your vocabulary grows and how much easier it becomes to speak naturally in English. To become fluent in English, I knew I had to surround myself with the language every day. You might not live in an English-speaking country, but that doesn't mean you can't create an English environment around you. The key is consistency and finding simple ways to use English in your daily life. Here's how I did it. First, I changed the language settings on my phone to English. This small change helped me see English every time I checked my phone. I would read notifications, messages, and even the names of apps in English. It was a great way to keep the language in front of me, even without trying too hard. And, if I didn't understand a word, I could look it up and learn something new. Next, I started watching English videos and listening to English podcasts. You don't have to be an expert to understand what's happening in these videos. Start with simple content, maybe short videos for learners or podcasts designed for beginners. As you listen, try to pick out words you already know. Over time, you'll get used to hearing English more clearly. You'll start picking up new words and phrases, and it will feel less difficult to follow. I also began reading simple books in English. At first, I picked books with easy vocabulary and short sentences. Children's books, for example, are a great place to start. They often have pictures that help explain the meaning, and the language is clear and simple. As I read more, I tried to read without stopping too much to look up words. Instead, I would try to guess the meaning from the context, and this helped me improve my understanding. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you can still make English a part of your daily life. It's all about finding little ways to use the language. Try changing your phone's language settings like I did, and see how many English words you can start to notice in your daily activities. Here are some other ideas to help create your own English environment. Listen to English music. Find songs in English and try to sing along. This is a fun way to practice pronunciation and learn new words. Even if you don't understand every word, try to catch the rhythm and flow of the language. Label things around your home. Put sticky notes on objects like the door, the mirror, the refrigerator, or your bed. Write their names in English and try to remember them every time you see them. Talk to yourself in English. Describe your day out loud in English. For example, I woke up early today. I made coffee and went for a walk. This simple habit helps you get used to thinking and speaking in English. Think in English. This might be harder at first, but try to replace your thoughts in your native language with English. Instead of thinking, "What should I have for dinner?" try to think, "What should I eat for dinner?" in English. It's important to remember that making an English environment doesn't have to be difficult or stressful. Even small changes, like switching your phone's language or listening to English songs, can make a huge difference. The key is to keep exposing yourself to the language as much as possible, even when you're not actively studying. The more you hear, see, and use English, the more natural it will feel to you. Now let's quickly review what we've learned today. Use filler phrases to keep speaking, even when you forget words. Practice storytelling to improve your fluency. Stop translating from your native language. Try to think in English instead. Practice speaking alone by talking to yourself or recording yourself. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Learn words and sentences, not just on their own. Surround yourself with English every day. You can make your own English world. If you use these tips, you'll start speaking more confidently and naturally in English. Remember, the more you practice, the better you get. Now I want to hear from you. What tip did you find most useful? Leave a comment below to let me know. If you found today's lesson helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any future lessons. Learning English is a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to fluency. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep practicing, and you've got this.